Hi, my name is Diana, and the topic for my video is the parole board. The problem I'll be discussing in this video is that I think the selection process for parole board members is faulty and unjust due to the fact that it is not always based on merit and competence. The first fact I would like to present to you is that only 22 states have statutory requirements for selecting parole board members, and many times within these requirements, the terms used for the qualifications are vague. They don't have specific definitions and therefore could be used to justify this appointment of a parole board member that was actually not appointed due to just reasons, but perhaps political reasons. This is another problem that we see, is that many of the parole board members are appointed due to their political leanings. One significant result of this is that there could be an unbalanced presence within the parole board, meaning that a majority of the parole board members could lean one way on the political scale than the other. Another result is that the parole board may not be representative of the community. It may not represent the political convictions of the community, which is a clear problem because the best way to make the best decisions for the community is probably to have the same ideology, to have the same political convictions as a community. Another result of another problem with the selection process is that many times the appointments are made out of favoritism based on political leanings, based on who you know, contacts, networks within the political arena. And this could lead to discrimination. If we have a person who has clearly met the meritorious qualifications for the parole board and position, and yet overlooked due to their being in the minority due to their political leaning, that is discrimination, because this job should be based on merit. It is important to point out that the governor appoints parole board members in about 45 states. This, as discussed before, could lead to favoritism and it could lead to discrimination. Now, one way that this problem affects parolees directly is that their future is in the hands of these parole board members. And if these parole board members, who may possibly be elected based on their political leanings, care more about their political agenda than the well-being of the parolee, then they're not going to make the best, most competent decision for the potential parolee. One way that this affects the system is that there's a presence of incompetent people in the system who work for the system and who are making decisions for the system. It's important to consider that many parole boards have the power to establish policy, and policy can be in effect long term. If policy is being established by people who are not aware or not competent of the problems and needs of the system, that policy could be damaging to the system. Now, one way that this problem directly affects the communities is that this affects families within the community. If they have a family member who could potentially be released on parole, and yet they are not due to factors that are irrelevant to their success on parole or their behavior in prison or jail, then that could create distrust between the community and the system, which could lead to resistance and chaos. When it comes to solutions, the first solution that I have is to abolish parole altogether, remove parole boards. We don't even have to deal with this anymore. However, there's a high cost of overcrowding in prisons and another cost of being extremely costly to the corrections system. The second solution that I have is to establish more specific statutory requirements in all states, and the benefit of this is that there would be the majority, or like perhaps all board members would be appointed based on merit and not based on factors irrelevant to the decision-making process that they will partake in as parole board members. The cost of this, though, is that this pool of potential parole board members would decrease. It would get smaller. The third solution that I have is that there should be a requirement for parole board members to have a background in corrections in the community that they want to serve through being a part of the parole board. This would obviously benefit the community, because who better to make a decision that is best for the community than those who know their community best. The cost for this is that the pool for potential board members would be even smaller than solution 2. Now, when it comes to my favorite solution, it would have to be solution number 2, because I think that solution, the solution of establishing specific requirements, having qualifications that have clearly defined, clear definitions, I should say, that would be best in order to ensure that we have competent people on parole boards who can competently make the best release decisions for potential parolees. Thank you.